Might start getting started. How are we doing it?
Almost. Connected. Let's see. Okay.
I think I can get going here. There's a little bit of just kind of beginning stuff here as you're working on stuff. So I think you have an idea of some of this here. So hi everyone, welcome to our training tonight from Civic, the Hack Oregon, which is built by the Civic Software Foundation. As you're all probably familiar here, but on presentation. We kind of work in 4 project areas as we build our projects. First, we do data repositories. We build databases. We connect to those databases through APIs and make those publicly accessible. And then we build our website to help make that public knowledge accessible for all. Next training now, we're going to be doing on django-rest-framework, API development, and some tooling that goes along with this. So just to kind of give you an idea here, these are some of the technologies we'll be talking about tonight in terms of our back-end development work. A lot of this is, basically connecting to PostGIS databases, building APIs to django-rest-framework, which is backed by the Django Web Framework, and then being able to expose your spatial data. So some high-level takeaways tonight we hope people can go from here from is just getting a basic idea of our development pattern and kind of what are we building in a high level. We're going to talk a little bit about a workflow overview. We're going to talk about how to create our API projects using our cookiecutter template. We're going to get into API development using the Django-rest framework, and we're going to talk about some of the basics from like configuring the API itself to building modders, views, exposing the data itself to the API. Talk a little bit about the GIS support, which is the geospatial information. That's where like PostGIS, GeoDjango, a few other things come into play. Let's see. And then we're going to get into tools and deployment as well. I'm just going to pause here one quick minute to make sure I'm stopped. Sorry about that. I'll be right back. There was a question. Okay. Yeah. So yeah, that's going to be kind of what we cover here tonight. Anything else people have concerns or questions about, I'd like to ask before we get going there. Try to include stuff the best I can here. Yeah. So first off, yeah, let's talk about what are we doing, why are we here, what are we building a little bit. First off, yeah, Hack Oregon, we always say that we don't just build apps or like websites, we're building larger systems. So we showed before, we're talking about data repositories, databases, applications there. So API, what we're talking about tonight, they really provide that public-facing gateway to our data. So people are either web developers, front-end, data science, they have a way to access this databases and data repositories through a secure or controlled way, as opposed to, just giving everyone access to S3 or other secure data. It allows us to control and organize development there. API is an application programming interface, so Shari is probably say what that is there as well. That's kind of that idea, gives you that systematic, programmatic way for people to connect to your backend systems there and control that access. So yeah, these APIs, as I said, will power front-end applications, data science, maybe other things in the future there. So then, going from that point, we're using Django as a web framework, which is a Python-based web framework. It can do many different things there, including it's built as what's kind of called a batteries included model. So when you use Django, you get a lot of things in there. You get a object resource mapper, or what's called ORM. You get authentication. You get basically a templating engine. You get a whole bunch of things in this package that makes it easier to start up and code. You don't have to build all the endpoints, routing, everything from scratch there. So that benefits a lot because it lets us get up and working kind of quicker a lot of times. We don't have to build a lot of these things from scratch. Sometimes that also means that there are things there that you might not need at all. So Django has a built-in administrative interface where you can go in and load data, and that's generally not ways we load data. There's other things that are in there. So sometimes you just need to kind of be aware of that, and that, hey, maybe you need to take something out or override a function. It doesn't happen a lot, but there's something there to be aware of. And we'll talk a little bit more down the line about Django versus what's called django-rest-framework, which is a specific package that allows us to deal with API, and kind of changes a little bit about how Django serves what are called views, because we're not actually serving web pages generally from Django applications we're building. Going from that point, then we're building something called third-party Django-rest-framework applications this year, which is a little bit of different model from last year, where we are just doing basically building everything right within the project itself. We're actually going to build Python packages or modules that are going to be installable through the PyPy package. So if you've ever done a pip install or something, that's basically what we're going to build, is something you can pull out of there and install into your Django app. This is a link here to you that goes to the Django-rest-framework, a little bit more detail about third-party packages and the pattern there in general. So yeah, I just want to stop here quickly and just get a lot of people maybe have seen this graph already. This is kind of look at our existing deployment chain. It gives you an idea of kind of where what we're talking about fits into the bigger picture here. Because before we're getting into this, basically what we're talking about tonight here, but there's a lot of other steps happening before we're even starting to build the API. And we talked a little bit about the PostGIS last week in training, and then there's definitely been conversations around API, data provenance, and going through the 3 steps here. You've probably been talking about it maybe with the 13, so a little bit too out. You get from that raw data into the PostGIS database. So really from here, we're starting out where you might have a database already loaded out into ECS or RDS this year as opposed to ECS instance. But you have it out in the cloud, and you're really trying to build the API to expose that data. In terms of a actual API development chain, this is kind of what I'm looking at this year here, is that basically first you're going to start out with building from a cookiecutter template engine, which we have up in Github. This will generate a basic kind of project repo and structure where you're going to use to build your actual API projects. Once you push this code to GitHub, then basically, and then we're going to have Travis kick in, and Travis is the continuous integration / development online tool that can do things like run automated tests there. For any tests you build, it can run out in a different environment, basically a staging or integration environment first to make sure it all works before you push it to production. You can also do what's the deployment, so it builds your actual packages, your systems there, and it pushes it into your production environments. So this year, what we're kind of looking at is maybe a multi-stage deployment pipeline there. We're first going to we're going to do two kind of tagging stages. First, basically you create a PR to master, which is what's going to kick this off. When you do that, it's going to run tests basically in the development container there, make sure stuff works and it passes the test. Once you do that, we're going to deploy first a GitHub release. So if you've ever been on GitHub, you see the tag version releases. We'll have those for the different releases of your package. We'll get to what I'm thinking about as a version, take some input a little bit later here. But once we do that, we'll also deploy a release to PyPy, the package index. Once that happens there, we're creating a production build of your Docker container, which hosts the API. We're going to reinstall the package not from locally, like a GitHub or anything, but from the PyPy index itself there to make sure that is working. We're going to run our integration test and then deploy this to ECR first, the Amazon Container Registry. And from that point, the ECS, the container service, will take over and deploy our actual APIs to the environment. I'll pause. Are there questions here on this before we continue? Just want to kind of give a brief overview of kind of what we're doing and maybe some of the patterns before we get into details.
So what the PyPy part is what would be accessible? That means it is so anybody that you basically just go hit install or
They can hit install like a code as a package or repository. That code is a Python API code, so it's how do the view sets, like how you're exposing the model and stuff like that. So it's not going to have say any credentials or anything in there. But say somebody runs this Django project in Ohio or something that has the basic same database connection that will help them learn the schema. They can install code and run all packages, work over Django.
that use case is basically when they want exactly what they have, for instance, Github, where they might want to support their customers.
Yeah, that's correct there. It's a quick way to get up and working, especially if we're talking about reusable or larger term data science. We probably want to try to do it similar. There's a question on if that works. There was always a backup, but yeah, they can definitely pull it locally and from GitHub and those as well from what we know.
That end up looking like they have their own django-rest-framework repo, and then our API is all out.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay. But then, so it assumes the same schema from different databases.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I would assume the same schema there. So, publishing schemas is something that's part of this. They can also extend upon it, maybe contribute code to that so we expand to different use cases. Any questions there? So yeah, I'm going to next dive into the kind of creating the API environment and the local repo, and then hopefully I will try to do some live demo here in a minute or two, just how to do that. But yeah, this year we're kind of moving forward from that, large, if people were here last year, that example, where it was just kind of, you had to copy it locally and do some configuration there. We're trying to give another way to spin up a repo or packet environment quicker there to use cookiecutter as a templating engine. So yeah, it should provide a lot of boilerplate and development tools without having to configure. a lot locally and help developers get up and working quicker. This also goes to kind of the cookie cutter documentation there if you want to get a better sense of how it works and some of the, you know, what's behind the actual engine there. Yeah. So in terms of, I'm going to come back to this in the demo, but I just want to give a brief overview there. In terms of the kind of workflow working for creating a project is, if you haven't already, you want to install the cookie cutter. It can be done through Pip there. It is a Python package itself. There are other options like glue install if you're on Mac too. Different options there that you can go to instructions on. But basically, once you install it, what you do is kind of similar to Github, a Git. You run cookie cutter and then tell it where to pull your template from. In this case, we're pulling it from the Hack Oregon cookie cutter repo there. When you do that, basically, it's going to then track you through some prompts where you're entering basic information about, say, your project, your name, other information that you'll need. And then basically cookie cutter takes that and throws in handlebar template values in the repo itself. So once you do that, then you can go ahead there. It doesn't have any kind of Git association with it in that new repo you created. So you basically do a Git init to create your Git repo, and then connect it with a remote repo. With Hack Oregon, we are always working within our Hack Oregon organization. Our deploy chain doesn't very well outside pull requests there. So we'll want you, instead of forking something or creating a repo inside your own personal GitHub, to create any project repos within Hack Oregon. If you don't have access, there's a GitHub access Slack channel to reach out there. So once you do that, then we just go ahead and make an initial commit. So, add your remote, give it an initial commit message and just kind of push the master. Once you do that, development we try to do within Docker if it works with our development chain and cut down some issues there. This year too, we're using a Docker image as a base image there that kind of goes in the basic Django project. So so we generally want you to work within the Docker repo. So once you're there, basically, this is a git commit message, but I was running out of space. So you'll create a new feature branch, and then basically you'll set up an environment file, build your container, start it, and then at that point you should be able to open the base container in your browser, and then just to make sure it's working, and then self-coding and self-building the code. So in terms of, we'll come back to this in a second and actually spin out some example projects as a demo. But one of the things I mentioned there is you're going to see when you start up the cookie cutter project, you're going to see some questions. So I just want to kind of give you an overview on some of the naming conventions of what they actually mean here. So there's a couple of first ones like your name, your GitHub name, and things like that. That's are pretty self-explanatory. But then the first one you get after that is your Hack Oregon team. So that's going to be the, what's the name of the actual team you're working on, transportation systems. I think there's open erections, housing, what have you there. The next thing it'll ask here is basically let's see, Python package namespace. And we're using namespaces basically to create an organization type namespace in PyPy, that remote repository. They don't have really an organization concept, but this is a concept that was introduced in Python 3.7, or not 3.7, but Python 3, to be able to organize your code in a little bit better there. So we're going to use that. Now, the nice thing with Cookie Cutter, we built it in to kind of automatically templatize this the way we would think is the best pattern there. So if you've entered, say, transportation systems as your Hack Oregon key, it was then automatically created as Hack Oregon _ transportation _ systems. So you can most likely just press enter there and it'll be formatted, but should always double check that. But basically, yeah, we want hack Oregon underscore your team name there. The sub package then, that's going to be the package you're actually creating where all your code, your views, your models, everything's going to lie. If your team is working with multiple data sets, you might have multiple ones, like patches per census, by town, something of that nature.
Okay, so this is, I've got it here. This is, Toad is a Django project?
That would be the Django app.
Okay, so there's no, so Hack Oregon Transportation Systems is the Django project, right?
That's the Python namespace there. So that's basically a century part of the application. I'll get here in a second there once I kind of spin stuff up. But basically, because we're using the Docker container, the Django project itself is all in the Docker container. So you would not actually have to deal with the Django project directory, other than your alpha settings with project.
Okay.
And there will only be one of these per team then, essentially?
There'll be one cookie cutter template for each team. There'll be one namespace, but there might be multiple stuff.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And how that works there for you, or there might be, I'm not sure how Sandbox is thinking this year, if that'll be one repo, I think, which is what they're doing, or there might be a Sandbox package or something like that there. So yeah, in terms of the initial creation, we're adding one sub package automatically, and then if you need multiple ones, you just kind of add that in yourself. But that's not too hard there, and I'll make sure to talk about that. We'll provide some documentation. So we'll also have a version in there, and you start with 0.1.0 as the first version. I'm thinking we want to be basically, and kind of continue working increments up to maybe version 1.0 or something be around demo day there. So that's kind of like our production, like our MVP product or something would be one, and then make incremental updates from that. The idea here is that might also allow us, as we move into the future, instead of maybe creating repos every year or creating new projects every year for continuing transportation systems from 2018 to 2019 to 2020, they can be version 1, version 2, version 3 there. And that still allows some, backward compatibility as well. Okay, the next one would be GIS, and that's just basically asking right now, as you're creating the project, whether you think you're going to have GIS, geospatial dependencies. If you do there, that basically adds in the django-rest-framework-gis package as a dependency for your pip install package. So when you do pip install, when you install your package, Django-rest-framework and the Django-rest-framework-gis. And we're also asking you there to put in a data science repo URL as well as a data science repo name. And that will get added in a space in the repo to kind of connect back in the README file to, hey, this is where we did the data science on this API. Generally, we've been working with 2 separate repos there. So
this is for reference.
Yeah, this is for reference back. We're going to have to definitely work in some more metadata and programmatic ways to work back to the data. But this is a starting point. So if someone comes to your repo and says, oh, this is cool, but they're like, where did this data come from?
Would that URL be pointing to like a spreadsheet, or?
It would probably be pointing to a GitHub. The idea is a GitHub URL which holds some of the data science work that's done to creating the database or other information.
Is that mandatory, or can you edit that later?
I think you have to maybe put something in there. I don't, but yeah, you can always put it in later. I just wanted to be in there at the beginning so you're thinking about that.
Okay.
Yeah. So let's go ahead here and then try a demo. How many people have maybe, let's see, I'm not sure if you have cookiecutter installed per se, but have Docker running.
I have Docker and I have cookiecutter.
Yeah. I mean, if you have, like, most likely you can probably just install it, do the pip install, and it'll be okay there on your machine.
Pip install minus use it. So it's a package, so if you're talking about code, this would be like maybe the name of the app or the project.
Yeah, it would be the name of the app. So, like, if you have a single kind of reusable piece of code that's installable there, what would that entail versus maybe another one that could be standalone by itself? So yeah, it would be a Django app. Last year we had bike count data, which in transportation systems, which was kind of not really related to the climate data. You might want to put those together, but they were, they work independently of each other. So I had an app for passengers that passengers sent this data from climate and app for bike count data. So those are two separate there. That would be kind of the cookiecutter or the app. All right, so I'm going to go ahead here. Now, one thing here, not sure if have people started doing the cookiecutter? Yeah, okay. Because there was one thing there I was going to mention is that I need to move this over to master. So we were going to cookiecutter from a branch. So I can also just pull it over to master there. Yeah, sure. So yeah, tonight what we're going to do is instead, just because I didn't want to put it on master without making 100% sure it was ready there, is we're going to do a checkout here, kind of similar to Github. Then we're going to check out training.
Okay, so I need to go find another. I need to do it again.
Yeah.
Okay.
And there's no N on it.
Train.
Yeah, train.
So
that's the command you want to do.
So I got to run the cookiecutter over?
Yeah. So you can, just remove it if you read the last one.
Yeah. Did I prompt you to remove it? You're going to ask us for the license.
No, I updated that, so it just says NIT1 on that grid.
Yeah. Does it matter if you use our working email or?
You can, that's just something that puts you in there, so.
Okay.
Oh, wait a minute. So where do I check out the branch?
Just to add it to after the.
Okay, so it's cookiecutter.
checkout.
So right here.
Check out.
And then train Jim. Yeah.
Like that?
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah.
Dream, Jim.
So it's all right to do the transportation systems right now.
Yeah, we're not going to push this up to get out or anything tonight.
Yeah,
Those
I'm
are
not
just
either.
locally, so, yeah, you can,
Yeah.
you know, keep it.
You've already filled in most of the stuff we have to create.
Yeah. I figured I'd have
For
it
the
example
database
that
we're
way.
building.
Yeah.
GitHub repo, this is something we're not going to push, so I don't have to change that.
Yeah, we're not
I
going to
just
push
use
it.
whatever that one was.
Okay, I'm going to call it class repo.
Give it a random here.
Python package, that's fine. Python.
Probably.
My project.
They run well.
Version, GIS project through, no data science URL, so I would just leave that blank or do I?
It'll probably, it's very difficult. So, it doesn't do anything in the repo itself, it just creates a link in the repo to it.
Seemed to be okay at the first enter for it.
Yeah, it probably gets, they use the description.
Descriptions that you put there.
So once you're done, you want to CD into it.
I wonder if it's because you ran it as super
Class
you get to
repo.
remove that directory.
Okay, now I've got a Docker Compose, and I've got a Heckler and transportation system requirements.
So I guess kind of working at what we've done here first and what we've created. So yeah, first off, we have the repo name, you know, the directory, which is whatever you put in there. It should probably be the year and then the, you know, the team basically. We've got then some files here in terms of the Docker Compose, which provides some basic Docker. A Docker file, which goes off of our HackerOrgan backend Docker image, which we discussed a little bit in the backend Docker training there. That builds a Django project and spins up and then allows you to set some local settings files there.
The bug in Docker file.
What is it?
And I think the string box is closed. Maintain it. It's like a stray.
Yeah, and shouldn't, like, were you running into the issue running anything or?
No, it was just messing up.
Yeah.
That file, I think maybe it's fine.
Okay. I'll make sure that's updated. Too much stuff with it. But going back there, basically then we generally always set the debug argument to false, but you can override this there on at runtime, and that's what we do when we're at this point we're creating things locally. Then we're creating a working directory called code. We're copying our requirements in there. This is going to copy then the local packet, local Python application you're developing at the namespace level. It does a local development install basically, installs anything else you have in our GeoDevelopment requirements. And then it creates another source files directory there, so you can copy all the run scripts into the bin, but it doesn't override the ones that are already in the Docker container. And then it basically runs our entry point file, which runs make migrations and migration in Django, does any static files, and then runs the Django application within the Kubernetes server there. Now, the other things to know here is that because we're building our Django settings, we allow for local configuration here as well within the local settings. You have the settings up high.
Oh, okay, yes.
And other files.
So that's in local settings. Then local settings, settings.py. So, but we shouldn't have to change anything there except the databases.
Right? Yeah, you do that in the environment. So in terms of other things here, we have a sample environment file we'll copy over in a minute. And then we also configure our PyTest framework so we can run Python tests there as well on the code and kind of get you off and working there quickly. In terms of where you're actually developing, we'll show you here soon, but it's all going to be in this, this is the Python namespace, and then this is the sub package, and this is where all your Python development files are going to be. So this is where you're going to be probably spending most of your time, along with updating the readmes and then any text. And then, yeah, any requirements, things you need to add to run your specific one, you put into common, and if you need it in both the basic development as well as production, or if you just need, development only or production only, you put those in the file that matches. So does everyone have a cookie cutter spun up then?
Yep.
Let's see there. So yeah, provided you got that going. Now,
Thinking ahead to a time when we may or may not have RTS access, how difficult would it be to add a development database to this repository?
it wouldn't be particularly difficult.
I looked at the Docker Compose, and it looks like you just need another Docker file, and another entry in the Compose file for it, and maybe some more environment. I think the environment parameters are already there, the database and everything.
Yeah. So you'll probably have the same.
Yeah.
Both instances there. So yeah, it shouldn't be too hard there to add.
I'm getting tired of trying to connect to Amazon.
Yeah.
Having it tell me that my SSL requires SSL connection. Yeah, I'm getting a little tired of that.
Yeah, definitely there. So yeah, we can do that here maybe you then like on wait. So yeah, at this point though, you should have basically the cookie cutter spun up here. Next thing, just so you're ready to go with the Git there, we would do these steps just to create a Git repo. But yeah, let's not worry about that tonight because we're just doing a example. So your next step there is if you're connecting to a Postgres instance, or there, you want to go ahead and set your environmental variables. Even if you wouldn't, you would still want to do that. Yeah. So you copy your n.sample to a .env file. The .env would get ignored already if you were pushing the Git, so it would protect that from getting committed.
That's not real way.
Yeah, these are not real.
Is that what, I think Nathan or Sue was talking about on Slack yesterday?
He had a couple questions there. I think one of them was on something on the installation of it. But let's see. So for now, right now, what we're going to do here is go ahead and just, basically take out these. Let's see. Comment, right?
.env,
Yeah, I guess go ahead and delete it for the second. We're just going to delete it out just to show it running.
Okay, so we get rid of, we comment out Postgres user. So we keep the Django secret key.
Yeah, keep the Django secret key and add a debug
is true, and comment the other stuff out. Lowercase, uppercase?
It's going to be lowercase.
No two programming languages define true the same way.
And I believe, so open up the local settings and make sure the database is commented out for the moment.
Okay, yeah, it was, I think, local settings stuff. Fine. Okay, so it's got all the Django stuff. Okay, looks reasonable.
All right. So let's go ahead here, and first we're going to run our build script. So the build script here, actually we'll have to change the permissions, but just to show you first, basically the build script, something's rebuilt here, and what it's going to do is when you pass it D flag for development, it's going to do a Docker compose build on your Docker file and pass in the build argument debugging to its true.
Okay.
So you might not even actually have to send that in. Now I'm pretty sure you're going to have to change the permissions on the scripts in the bin folder first. So it's going to do a chmod from x.bin build, actually x.sh.
Okay, actually get them all. Yeah, plus x / star.sh.
And then you want to run the build script with that -d flag there to do the development build.
And so this is the same as last year.
It does a little bit different way, but yeah, it's
Minus
really
D. Bin slash. Okay, Postgres variable not set.
and it's fine, those on set now.
Okay.
I said that there was need for build our
And you've got, it's pulling a repo from Docker up, so,
Yep, it should be pulling our
yep, it's doing it.
Docker. Yeah, it should be pulling the, at this point, I did create the non-dev one there, so it should be pulling this repo over here from Docker.
Backend Docker Django, what it says, Hack Oregon Civic backend Docker repo. Pulling.
Are you still getting an error, Monster?
Yeah, I'm figuring it's something in the script, I'm not sure what it is. Did you change something like this?
This script?
Yeah.
I did not change this at all. The only thing I did do was set I set the debug there. And it's working for you, Ed, right?
Yeah.
You wouldn't have had that Docker container at all, so.
What tomatoes for some other one?
I'm on Linux. So everything works on Linux. All the Docker stuff. I should mention though, at some point, some versions of Linux will require all Docker commands to run as root with sudo. Fedora Silverblue, for example, requires, even if you're in the Docker group, it's still, it's very, they secure it as much as possible. So the Docker group is considered a security risk. And so Fedora people have kind of disabled that. So you may have to say sudo Docker compose.
So if that's running for you, the next step as a running node, the next step you're going to do is install. It's going to basically the same thing as that.
Okay, and that would bring up the API container.
Yeah.
Huh?
So let me ask you a question, but do you have to have had Docker installed for that command there to work?
Yes.
Oops, forgot my mistake. Okay, it's running all that stuff, and it's listing as API since there's no database. So I should be able to just browse to 8,000 and see what happens.
Yeah. It should probably say not found there because we don't actually have.
Install worked successfully.
Okay.
So I got the debug page.
Yep. So if you got that there, we basically know Django is working in your process there. Next step is actually getting into Django code, API development. Let's see, where all people are at with the demo there then.
I'm up.
Mine, oh, there it is. That took forever to pop up, but it did.
Cool. Probably to getting your Docker virtual machine.
Not my fault.
No, that's the default. That's default.
This is the most intensive theme launch.
The good news is you can run on battery for weeks.
I don't know.
Well, I don't know. I can run on battery for minutes.
Drop about 25, 30%.
I don't even bother trying to turn the power saving mode on. That gets me down to what I can run half an hour in power saving mode.
It's green.
And it's green. We ran Power Tough and shut everything off last night, and it's cold.
So yeah, if you're not the first person to start the project there, then if you're just coming into something somebody's already run, this just kind of tells you really don't touch the cookiecutter template at all. You're just going to go ahead and clone the repo from Git, create your new branch, and then start up the Docker container worker is running. So the questions there kind of on the cookie cutter and the setup at this point.
That can be shared.
Yeah, this is all in, like these slides will be shared, and I think I'm going to just make a PDF or something. To be going in. So yeah, I guess we kind of did this already there, but yeah, I was going to have this just kind of look over the repo, but let's see, we kind of worked with the template. As mentioned there's going to be some basic needs, license, contribution guidelines, so hopefully it's get notifiers, the Docker file and Docker compose, the Travis, which considers the deployment chain, and then some basic settings